Welcome to Crawl or No Crawl. This is Carolyn Holzman, and today is December 7th. You may have heard yesterday on Monday around noon that Google announced they started rolling out the December 2022 helpful content update, and would take a couple of weeks to complete the rollout. Now, literally at the same time this was being announced, Ted Kubaitis on his YouTube show, SEO Fight Club, was discussing his theories of what the helpful content update might have been, and was showing examples of what he saw and that our previous testing that we used to use to prove that Google doesn't read might not be accurate anymore. There might be some NLP type stuff in play. Now, I'll put the link to the video of Ted going through this in the description, because if you've been hit, he goes through what is different now and that what is different now, I guess I should say, could actually be very helpful content to consumers, to searchers. And in short, it does not cause harm. This update does not cause harm. People aren't being penalized by helpful content updates. It might be that others that are not you are being rewarded for unique statements of very specific benefits. For example, benefits of using multivitamins. That's not just pharmaceutical or health issues. So he goes through a whole bunch of really interesting things. So when everybody else is writing generally the same content describing benefits, let's say, of something like that, Google might be filtering out their content because now it behaves like syndicated content. We use press releases as a great way to explain this. Yes, they all get published, but only a couple get served because they're all identical, and Google's like, why do we need all of that? And so I think the helpful content update, as I understand it, which is based on what Ted was showing yesterday, is that this might be a diversity issue, that if you are basically re-paraphrasing what everybody else is doing and saying, yes, it might be helpful if you read it, but as far as Google sees it, it's like, we've got this. We don't need to give this more space. So bear that in mind. Take a minute or two actually, and watch that show, because I think as he walks you through it, you're going to see things that you can do. Now, let's see. So with this updated yes, I'm going to say that I'm going back over, based on what Ted showed yesterday and then the announcement. I want to go back through and see, because remember last Friday, there was a lot of volatility. And, I was like, I don't think this is an update. Well, hang in there. I'm definitely going to go back. Now, quick housekeeping. Today's test day, because it's a weekday, and the test page was published. Request through the API and the bot visit was confirmed. You'll see here there was a Search Console update last night, and it was very quick between the last ones, only 2 days. And new content was found this morning. It was last week's Tuesday test page, findable by its simple keyword. And I think by end of day, that's why this is not red. I think by end of day, the JavaScript will probably be findable as well. It'll make it through. Now, what I want to call to your attention is, let's go back over here. So this is what this is Google announced yesterday that this was their update. So that signifies that. Now I'm going to go back to last week and look, and so I added a new thing. I think I'll be able to get some of this, maybe not as much detail as the spreadsheet, but this is an overlay of that data. So what day was that? Wednesday? And that's when the mobile bot updated. Now, I had to get a big data set yesterday before I could see that, or I guess I should say Monday. Um, so looking at that, this was the appearance of Mobile 20, which was the latest Chrome build. And literally within 2 days, the desktop version came about. Now, before the desktop version comes out, I know that there's a lot of testing that goes on underneath here and playing around with the SERPs. So I think when they actually rolled out the helpful content update was probably Friday, and that would explain that jump in that a lot of the SERPs changed, and probably not 100% of the index, but part of it, right? So they talk about it rolling out over the next couple of weeks. I think we might be, seeing that from time to time. So that's why this line is Carolyn's update. So this is when I think it started, as evidenced by the fact that now we have a desktop version of the latest Chrome bot. So they finished their testing, they built they launched the desktop, and bam, I think they started flowing it out. So that's kind of how I'm resorting last week's, not changing the data, but just simply overlaying new on top. Okay, so now let's see. I want to go over here. I think I want to go over here. All right, so this is the bots. Do they show anything? Well, they tell me a lot. So looking at this, you can see here that we pretty much had the desktop version that no Chrome. There's no Chrome here, and there was no presence of desktop Chrome bots. And over here in the mobile, we had some, but this is a super low number of bots in general. Now, I don't think I've mentioned my theory about Search Console, because I see it as a swinging door. Either Google is taking in new content, or it's pushing out reprocessed or processed data. And it doesn't do both at the same time. So let that sink in. If you're making changes to your content and you've resubmitted it and you don't see a big jump that you're expecting, or you see a jump that you're expecting, I'm just saying it's not all the way across the entire index, I would say that they're going to be pushing out all this helpful content. And again, this will all make sense when you watch Ted's show, where he kind of lays it all out. Don't really have the time or space to do it here. But anyway, so it would appear right now that they're pushing out, and probably every now and then sort of dolloping up a little served content. But what I wanted to share all that about was basically saying, the bots don't necessarily predict when an update is coming, but they can tell us that an update is happening before Google announces it. So I'm going to go back over here and say this. This was the signal here. And so going back and saying, okay, the high volume here of volatility, the quick graduation from a mobile to a desktop, and then having let's go over here, the announcement. So I think there's always a delay in announcing versus when it actually launches. So if you're getting hit or anything like that, like I say, I highly recommend watch the TED show. This week's confessions, I'm going to be talking about how SEO agencies are like the ideal corporate model. Yeah. And you haven't missed the enrollment opening up for Forensic SEO. That starts January, so it'll be sometime this week. Anyway, lots and lots of fun stuff. I hope you're not suffering too much, but there's a way out of this if you are hit. But it's going to mean more diversity in your concepts. So go watch SEO Fight Club.